Hi train friends, welcome back to the Ozark Midland and Southern Railway. I'm Bill B, and today I'm going to give you a little update on the railroad's progress. Before I get started on the railroad update, I want to thank the channel subscribers for taking an interest in the channel and being a part of the OM&S community. And speaking of community, I want to mention that despite the channel having been online for just a little over a year now, I just learned about using the channel's community tab as a means to communicate with you guys. That's on me. But if you check it out, you will find that I'm now posting there. I learned about using the community tab while chatting online with members of the Matt and Matt O-Scale Trains Discord server. I'll leave a link to it in the video's description. I'd also encourage you to check out their podcast. It's pretty cool too. Okay, with all the new subscribers to the channel, I think it would be a good idea to also give a little tour of the railroad along with the update. The best place to start would be on the railroad itself. So let's go there and get started. I'll see you on the OM&S. Well, here's the OM&S in the train room. Give just a quick look at the overall scheme here. See how it kind of fills the room. I'll kind of step back here. What you're looking at now is the bridge loop. This was the first of two loops that was built for the railroad. Its dimensions are about 4.5 feet in the back there, about 4 foot along the right side. In the length coming towards me from the back wall is about 7 foot 8 inches, I believe. The bridge is I can lift that up so I can access inside the loop. You get any access to the track and anything I need to do back there. The main table is 14.5 foot long and 5 foot 1 inch wide. So that's the main table. Over here to the right, you see some storage, some Glenn Snyder shelving, and then a little shelf that a friend and I built some years ago. It holds cars three cars deep. Oh, and over here I would have kind of put this away if I could have had some space to put it. But this is the scenery material I've been collecting for the last year or so in anticipation of one day being able to get some serious scenery work going. And then behind me, you saw that more Glenn Snyder shelving. Yeah, you can pretty much tell I'm pretty much a diesel man. There are a couple steam locomotives in there. But because of the 036 curves I use, I'm pretty limited as to what I can run from in terms of steam locomotives. Actually, I pretty much stick to 4-axle diesels. Although I do have some train masters, a couple train masters that run real well in the layout. So there's the main table. Over to the right, to the left, you see the Susanville yard. Its dimensions it's 10 foot from the tunnel portal back there to the end here nearest me. So it's like a 10 foot area I have to work with. And then down at the very end of the aisle, we'll go down there, you'll see Copperhead Creek that bridges the Susanville yard with the main table. I want to take a moment to credit Dennis Brennan for helping me with Copperhead Creek. Not that he was involved in it directly here and now, but some years ago while he was photographing my layout in my previous home, he commented about my rivers and mentioned that certainly from a photographic standpoint, it'd been better if I had been able to kind of hide where the rivers went there at the back of the near the wall. Previously, the rivers, my earlier layout, they actually just went straight back and ended at the wall. And I agreed that that from a viewing and as well as a photographic standpoint, it really didn't work. So he shared with me how when you make something like this, whether it's a river, a creek, or a road, if you can make it disappear at the end there towards the wall, you're so much better off. And so I really took that to heart, what he said. And while I didn't change the layout, my previous layout, I did when building this think about what he had said to me. So thank you, Dennis. I mentioned Dennis has Brennan Model Railroading. This is where I get a lot of my scenery supplies from. He makes some great materials for scenery use. I would just show you here real quick that here is the backdrop that I'm working on. I'm still trying to think how I'm going to exactly pull this off, with exactly how the execution is going to go. But you can see where I've using some foam board, I created some shapes, kind of in the shape of mountains, and then I've got a hardboard wall that I'm in the process of building a concrete retaining wall. I may have to talk to Dennis about what he thinks about how best to execute this this backdrop. I want it to be. What I envision is you've got the concrete retaining wall. Then the next level is going to be some rock, rock face there. Then up above, the edge there'll be trees, and then more trees kind of on the upper level as well. So it's I want it to look pretty tree covered. Okay, here's the little farm scene I've been working on. I used foam board to create the form, and I made it such that at this juncture anyways, I can actually lift it up off the layout. Now, whether I'm going to permanently affix it to the layout, I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of thinking I'd like not to have to do that if I can avoid it. But we'll see how that goes. And then I wanted to show you the second reverse loop. I almost forgot to show you that. The second reverse loop begins with this switch right here in Elizabethtown. And it runs behind the farm scene. You can kind of see it there. I'll kind of see where it runs behind the farm scene, and then connects with this switch over here, which gives me a means then on this railroad I can reverse my trains in either direction. So it really is an advantage. One reverse loop is I'd say a must. If you can have two, it's really a plus. Okay, well, I was talking with the chief administrative officer, or chief executive officer, and president of the railroad, Will B. Goodman, and I talked to him about how we were going to be giving this tour, and I talked to him how I was going to pull out one of the out of the Jersey Central passenger cars out of storage to take you guys around the railroad. And he said, well, I think we can do better than that. And look what he came up with. A Santa Fe Vista Dome. I said, wow, okay. So you guys get aboard the Vista Dome, and we'll take a spin around the railroad. Our train will be pulled by none other than Mopac GP35 number 607. She's a favorite on the railroad, as are just about all my locomotives. Favorite one way or the other. Okay. Okay, so you guys get aboard, and we'll take off here momentarily. If you have any questions about what I'm doing or the railroad itself, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments. I try to make a point of always answering. So there you go. I'll see you. I'm going to be aboard the locomotive, trying to get some cab view shots, some video. But I'll join you a little later on down the line. Here we go. Well, okay, guys. Ready to head out? All aboard? Well, we've stopped now on the leg of the second reverse loop that I talked about earlier. And I just want to give credit to Richard Shute, who was responsible for coming up with the idea for it. I designed the layout, as I mentioned earlier, with just one reverse loop, the bridge loop. And then once the layout became operational, I quickly learned that I really needed that second reverse loop. And I struggled to kind of come up with an idea. I shared my issue with Richard Shute and sent him a couple of photos, and it was in no time that I had a revised track plan that included the second reverse loop. Remember, it starts at this switch here in Elizabethtown, and then goes on to the switch that we just passed through that put us onto the loop. So I wanted to give credit to Richard Shute for that idea, and also let him know that this loop is now officially referred to as the Shute loop. The second thing I want to mention is that as I was designing my layout, I came across a video on YouTube put out by Steve Nelson where he talks about the importance of creating view blocks, so that when you come down or you look at, you're setting in one location, you don't see the entirety of the layout. So in my case, as you come down the stairs and into the train room, this elevated trackage that's in place, once it's I've got the scenery done around it or beneath it, it'll create a view block so that you won't see the entire railroad for just any one particular location. It'll help kind of make, I think, the railroad more interesting. And that was, I think, Steve's point. So I want to thank Steve Nelson for imparting that wisdom. And it kind of just goes to show how, as you're building your layout, what you learn from others is really important. The idea of how to handle Copperhead Creek from Dennis Brennan. The Shute loop, created by or designed by Richard Shute. And then the view block concept offered by Steve Nelson in his YouTube video. Thank you, guys. The last thing I'm going to mention is just what I mentioned a word or two about my future projects. What's next on the agenda is I really believe I need to get the interior of this layout completed. So I'm going to be putting the beneath the track. I'm going to be putting walls, concrete wall on the inside here of Elizabethtown to help save space. I use hardboard. Now on the outside, I'm going to be using the stone wall, similar to what you see here in the bridge abutment. Okay, that's one of the high priority projects. The second one is I mentioned it yesterday, is the issue of this backdrop. I really want to get this backdrop kind of pulled together. I've already begun the concrete wall, retaining wall, but I need to go beyond that. I want to get that little section finished. Then will come the coloring of the rock, all the way around the layout. I'll do some blending here to kind of. I've already got the area around the rock around the bridge loop completed. I'll kind of blend that with Blue Rock Mountain. And then I'll finish up the coloring of the rock here in both Copperhead Creek and on Rocky Top. Well, I think I hear I hear a horn or two, and I think we may have a coal drag on its way. So train friends, that completes our progress update and tour of the Ozark Midland and Southern Railway. We are sure pleased to have you aboard and hope to see you again. So until we meet again on the OM&S, do take care. This is Bill B. And remember, the Ozark Midland and Southern Railway is pulling for you. Bye now.